The following program is a Creative Magic Network production. Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome, come on in, put your earbuds on, maybe you're on the treadmill, maybe you're doing dishes, maybe you're driving, whatever you're doing, welcome to the Frederick Bai Show, and this radio podcast is about unleashing your creativity. Talk to experts who step into the unknown. It is an inspirational, magical, intuitive radio podcast as we chat with charismatic enigmas. That's right. Artists and entrepreneurs from around the globe. Musicians, singers, radio hosts, business people, writers, photographers, everything in between. The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. Funky like a monkey. Hey, in this place, sky is the limit and space is the place. I am Frederick Bai and I am your favorite French Canucker. I'm your host. I'm a businessman. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a friend. I'm an animal lover. I'm a reader. And today we have an amazing show, exciting show, and from a writer that I really admire. And let me ask you this, people. Are you in a relationship, are your relationship screwed up? Well, there's a reason for that. If you feel you're not in the right career, there's a reason for that. If you feel that, hey, I just don't like that person, I don't know why, I just don't like him or her, well, there is a reason for it. And today we're going to talk about the 5 elements. That's right. There are personality types that just match or don't match with us. And today we're talking with Dondi Dahlin. She's the author of the 5 elements. Understand yourself and enhance your relationships with the wisdom of the world's oldest personality type system. So welcome to the show, Dondi.
Thank you, Frederick. I'm so happy to be here. I love your energy this morning. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what my type is. I'd like you to analyze me through because I know what it is. I did that test and everything. At the end of the show, I just want to see if you can analyze me.
Okay, you got it.
I don't know if it'll be enough. I don't know if it will be enough, but we'll see at the end of the show. Okay. All right. So, you wrote a very, very interesting book. I think it's a book that can really help a lot of people because there are people in the world that we just, for some reason, and I can speak for myself, I can walk into a room and tell that, that person's energy just doesn't match with mine. Am I crazy or am I crazy or am I normal?
You're absolutely normal. So all of us who are walking the earth fall into a certain element, a certain personality type. And the personality types and elements of the 5 elements from China are water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And each person is somewhat bound by their element. They're somewhat held in place by their element. And every element has a counterpart that they're going to do really well with. They're going to get along with. Everything feels good. Looking feel good around that person. The person may not speak or say anything, but wow, I really feel good around them. Likewise, there are other elements that you may be around a person and you think, you know what? I just don't like that person. Or right. I know that person just doesn't like me. And we've done nothing wrong to each other. We've done nothing bad, but we don't get along. These are elemental clashes. And so you are normal, Frederick.
Hey, you have an interesting background and you work with the Omega Institute, and it's exciting to me because I'm a huge Elizabeth Lesser fan, and I read years ago the Seeker's Guide by Elizabeth Lesser. Did you read it? Do you know which book I'm talking about, or?
Yes, I know her, and oh my gosh, she's amazing. Her writings are amazing. Her speaking is amazing. I love her. I love Omega. I've been there for about 15 years now. it's such a great place up in upstate New York where artists and entrepreneurs and creative seekers come.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when I read that you were in, you work at the Omega Institute, that's just awesome. I was like, oh, anyway. But all right, so right before we dive into the book, though, talk to us a little bit about your background. How did you come up to write this book?
Yes, so my background is, as an adult, I find that I have an amazing background. When I was little, I thought it was normal. I thought it was a background that everybody had. I did not know that having a mom who was a natural healer and could see energies in the body was unique. And so that's who I was raised by, my mom, whose name is Donna Eden. And she, from the time she was born, she was able to look at a person and see where sickness was, where health was. She still does this today. She talks about when she's walking down the street, she doesn't necessarily see what a person is wearing or what they look like physically or what their hairdo is. It's almost like she has X-ray vision and she sees right into their body what's happening with their kidneys, their heart, their lungs, their liver, their legs. And so this is who I was raised by. My mom teaches 9 energy systems in the body. Some of those energy systems that you all may be familiar with are the chakras, the aura, the meridians. Well, one of those 9 are the 5 elements. So she raised my sister and I in this system that is a health system. It's also a personality type system. And it's been incredible because I noticed by the time I was about, I would say in my late teens, early 20s, getting into college, just how much this system was helping me through difficult events in my life. It was helping me understand other people's fears, motivations, behaviors. It was helping me in a way that other people didn't have this toolkit, people who didn't have the 5 elements. I started feeling like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this system because it's allowing me to do better in my relationships, better in my work, and be more successful in life. So that's it in a nutshell of how the 5 elements came to be. I've been wanting to write the book for a good 25 years, and I'm so happy I have finally written the 5 elements so everybody can enjoy it and glean information from it.
Yeah, it really enlightened me in a lot of ways. All right, so the 5 elements, why haven't we heard from it? I mean, why are the 5 elements, I think it's important to know those elements. And it's an ancient system from China, am I right?
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Talk to us a little bit about that, and why is it, it's not well known.
Right.
It is now with your book. But,
yes. Yes, absolutely. So the 5 elements are from China. Amazingly, they're about 5,000 years old. They were first recorded into medical text about 2,000 years ago when Chinese physicians and philosophers saw that not only could they kind of put people into different groupings of what their health issues might be, but they could put people into different groupings of what their personality types might be. And immediately when I say this, some people start thinking, oh, so she's going to categorize people. It's going to put people into boxes and it just limits who they are. No. This system brings so much compassion, so much understanding. It actually grows your understanding of people to be able to comprehend why someone does what they do, why that person has certain health challenges and that person doesn't, or why that person says what they say, something I would never say, but that person does. It really helps you grow your comprehension. But back to the elements. So 5,000 years old, you may be thinking, well, if it's 5,000 years old, why haven't we heard of it? We haven't heard of it here in the West for a number of reasons. The biggest being Mao Zedong. So Mao Zedong was the ruler of the Communist Party from about 1949 to 1976. And what he wanted to do was have everybody in his country, everybody across China, think the same, act the same, be the same. He wanted to be able to control them. He was a dictator who oppressed people, Chinese culture, Chinese medicine, feng shui, the arts, poetry, destroyed a lot of buildings, historical buildings, and the five elements went underground. So that's what happened. Around the 1970s, a man named Worsley brought the five elements to the United Kingdom and also to America, and it started growing again. But really in the communities of acupuncture and massage and natural medicine. Now, like you said, hopefully with my book, it's coming out to the masses because I believe everybody needs the five elements. Everybody should have this system that helps them get along better with other people because, oh my gosh, isn't that one of our biggest problems here on earth? Being able to understand others, why they do what they do, and understand ourselves and have compassion across the board.
Right. How long did it take you to write this?
Well, it took me about 2 years, but in that 2-year process, for anyone who has written a book, they know you have to write a proposal, you have to shop for a publisher, you have to get an agent. So the whole thing was a 2-year process. I probably could have written it very quickly because it was percolating for 25 years. And I kept going through life. I was a performer and I performed all over the world, and I'd go through different experiences, whether I was in Europe or performing in the Middle East or even Iceland. And I'd think, oh my gosh, I was able to get through that experience with that person better because I knew she was a water. Or I was able to get through that experience with my boss in Egypt because I knew he was a wood. And so you start working with these elements and you're able to work with people. So I wanted to write it a long time. As it is, a book is like giving birth, and it takes a little while to write a really good one.
Yeah. All right. Once again, we're here with Dondi Dahlin. She's the author of The 5 Elements, Understand Yourself and Enhance Your Relationships with the Wisdom of the World's Oldest Personality Type System. And you can find her at learnthefiveelements.com. And right before continuing this conversation, people, if you have a passion, something that fuels your curiosity, well, on top of getting fascinating interviews such as this one straight to your inbox, when you subscribe to our free Creative Magic community, you will get super cool exclusive gifts in return, such as the ebook Happiness Quotes by the Ambassador of Happiness herself, Moa Sweeney, one of our hosts here at the Creative Magic Network, and also an exclusive conversation with 2 of my favorite people, Alex Okoroji and the blind blogger Max Ivy, as we talk about the influence of friends and college education in our lives, the competitiveness in a crowded field, the importance of business and financial education in arts and entrepreneurship, and more. Also, Alex has a special gift for you inside a book. That's right, FREE free. I promise you will get inspired and entertained. Subscribe for free at frederickbuy.com. Frederick with a C, buy like bye-bye.com. All right, let's move on with the personality types. And the first one in your book is the water type. What is the water type?
The water type is a very complex person. We're going to start with the most complex of the elements. All of the elements, except for the water, have one type of archetype. But the water gets 2, and they're very, very different. So one archetype for the water person is the philosopher, and the other is the baby. What could be more different, right? So the philosopher is your deep thinker. They're very intuitive, creative. The water person speaks in a lot of metaphor. They love mythology. They love meaning, anything they can find meaning in, and they look for meaning in life. On the other hand, they get the archetype of the baby, and the baby is curious and playful and cuddly and giggly. So they get these 2 very distinct and very different archetypes. A lot of creative people and musicians artists, actors have a great deal of water element. Kurt Cobain, Stevie Nicks, Bob Dylan. These are people who have very profound lyrics. So this wouldn't be like your pop musician who's running around the stage high energy. This is more your water musician, your folk musician who maybe stands in one place or even sits on a chair during their concerts, talks to the audience about things that are meaningful in their lyrics. I do want to say that every element has a body type. When you learn the 5 elements, you can start recognizing the element through people's body types, through their face. So the body type for the water person, and this stands even if they're thin. This could be a thin body type or a fuller figure body type, but they're always a little bit doughy. They have a little bit of extra skin, not as much muscle. And so that's the body type, a little bit rounder. They usually have a nice big moon face, a round face. Every element has an organ that they govern. For water, it's the kidneys and the bladder. So all that means is if you were to go to a Chinese physician, a doctor of Chinese medicine, and they took you in, they would first figure out what your element is a lot of times. And then if you were a water, they would look to your kidneys and bladder for whatever health issues you had, because those are the governing organs for water. The main emotion is fear. So when water people go to stress, often the first emotion they feel is fear. On the other side of that, my waters out there listening, don't get too alarmed. On the other side of that is courage. So if you are a balanced water, if you're balanced emotionally and physically and mentally, you're going to have great courage. So that's water very briefly.
Okay, let's dive into the dominant emotion. You said it's fear. Elaborate that, please. Is you being under pressure when you're stressed? Why is fear the dominant emotion? Yes.
So every element has a dominant emotion, and for water, it's fear. So this means when they're hit with stress, the first emotion they feel is fear. And this ties in with Chinese medicine and the kidneys. They say the seat of fear is in the kidneys. And all it means is, to clarify, I don't mean that water people go through life scared all day. Oh, I'm scared of a spider, and I'm scared of the dark, and I'm scared of that, and I'm scared of that. This is under stress. These are big fears. Fear of success. Fear of not being successful, fear of death, fear of taking the next step in their life. Whereas a wood, which is the next element in line, when they go under stress, their first emotion that they feel is anger. So it's very, very different. They're going to get mad. They're angry at injustices. They're mad at what is happening in their life. They're mad at what is happening in the lives of their friends, and they're going to express themselves through that anger. Waters will kind of pull away, pull away and maybe isolate themselves and go more into fear.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so it's under pressure, they will go inside, like they will go, because fear, somebody can think they go, an expressive person you will see it in the body language, but I mean, for water type, they will go inside, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Inside. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Water type of people are a very internal type of person. They internalize their emotions. They aren't the type of person who really speaks a lot about emotions.
How are they when they're in a relationship or in love?
Oh, well, it can be difficult with a water type. They are the ones that you need to pull the words out of. You may think, oh my gosh, my boyfriend just isn't talking to me. I want to come home and talk about work and all that has happened about my day. And he just kind of goes into the bedroom and is quiet and reading a book. This is the water type. So it really helps to know if someone you're in relationship with or in love with is a water, because you can speak to them differently. Instead of taking it personally that your mate isn't talking to you and thinking, oh my gosh, they just hate me. And oh my gosh, I can't believe they aren't talking to me. Don't they care? Well, they do care, but they're a water and they internalize their emotions. So you can say to them, I really need you to talk to me in this relationship. Otherwise, this isn't going to work for me. So how much time do you need? Do you need 24 hours to talk about this issue because I want to speak to you about this issue? Do you need a couple of hours? Let me know, and then we can plan it. And that really helps a water person to transition into being prepared for the conversations that can sometimes be heavy.
How do they remain balanced?
Okay, so waters can remain balanced.
And what will make them imbalanced?
Okay, so the number one thing in my book about waters is that they beat themselves up a lot for needing downtime, for needing naps, for needing to rest, for needing to come back to themselves. It's a really big issue with waters more than any other element. They need to restore. But what happens in our crazy sped up Western society, that's not okay. We need to keep working. We need to keep moving. We need to stay productive. But that is not the rhythm of the water. So to stay balanced, remember, if you're a water, you need downtime. Don't feel guilty about it. It's restorative. And you'll probably be a nicer and better and more productive person for it in the long run.
Right. Can't it be perceived as laziness by certain people?
Absolutely. And procrastination is an issue for waters. It really is, out of all the elements. And so once you know that, again, if you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe that my husband hasn't ever done this project for me that I've had sitting in his garage. I've asked him for 4 months to do it instead of personalizing it, because we go through life personalizing so many things instead of thinking, oh, he just doesn't care about me and my project. Well, waters, they take a lot of time, and procrastination is an issue. So again, easing them into it, saying, I really need this done in the next week. What I do, I have a water partner, and I have started to just make other plans. If I know he isn't going to be helping me on a project, I find someone else to help me, and it takes away a lot of the frustration. I don't take it personally. I just know he's a water. That's his rhythm. It's a bit slower than others.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Let's move on with the woods. The
woods. So the archetype is the pioneer, the warrior. They're confident. They do well under pressure. They're very good with debate and arguments. They're very urgent to get ahead in life. They see goals. They accomplish them. Woods can be perceived as extremely successful because they know how to get things done, and they do it very efficiently and very quickly. It's interesting, though, that their main emotion is anger. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times when you have a wood in your life, you can feel like every conversation with them is a little argument. Well, it's not an argument to the wood. To the wood, they're just conversing. But to other people may feel a little steamrolled. They may feel that the wood is insensitive and this person is yelling at me. This person is arguing me. Well, the way a wood speaks, they usually drop into a lower octave. It's very choppy. They're very direct, like the way I'm speaking now. To a wood, the way they speak is, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just conversing. I'm just talking. Well, to other people, this can feel a little aggressive. Mm-hmm. So every element also falls into a different vocal pattern and a very different vocal rhythm. The main organs for wood are gallbladder and liver. So we're going to look to the liver and the gallbladder for the health challenges of a wood. Their body type is a little bit stocky, kind of blocky. They do make muscle. So whereas the water type is more doughy, the wood gets to make muscle. When they work out, they can see muscle fairly quick. And they're usually on the shorter side. They're not always, but they're usually a little bit shorter. And some of our famous woods are Simon Cowell. He's very direct. He's our judge on singing competitions on television. He's the judge who's known as the person who hurts other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Pink, the singer Pink, she often says that the only thing that fuels her to write such incredibly profound lyrics is her anger. Her anger fuels her. A lot of woods say that. They'll say, my anger got me through the night, or my anger helped me to write that thesis. It fuels them. Bill Maher, even though he also has some fire and some water, our commentator on TV, he has a lot of wood. He's very, very direct with people. Wood people really value honesty, and they have no time to beat around the bush. So that's a telltale sign you've got a wood on your hands.
Mm-hmm. What types of careers do they usually? Let's say you're a 9-to-5 person. You're not so sure what you want to do. You kind of don't really like your job, and you're wood. What would you tell them? What careers,
Well, first of all, a wood will never wonder what they're going to do. They always know what they want in life, and they always know what they're going to do. They're the person who is very, very secure about where they want their career to go. Now, it may change in life. They might want one thing in their 20s and another thing in their 40s, but they're always on a path. And it's like, I am doing this now. Get out of my way because I'm here. So you can imagine woods go to the top of corporations. They're very good at leading businesses. They're very good at being leaders and coaches. But if you do pick a wood for a coach, especially for your children, keep in mind that wood coach is going to be a little bit harder on them. There's not as much fluffiness. There aren't as many hugs. There's not as much praise. It's really about responsibility and getting ahead and how to win. So woods do very well in whatever they want to do in life. And it's usually on the fast track in big corporations.
Mm-hmm. What types of foods are good for wood?
Well, you know what? Their liver and their gallbladder are the organs that are going to be stressed the most. So woods, more than any other element, need to eat and drink cleanly. And when I say cleanly, I mean they really do need to watch out for the additives, the preservatives, the alcohol, overdoing anything, big meals. They need to watch out for the big meals that might tax their liver or gallbladder, because when the food or the drink hits that liver and gallbladder, you don't want to stress those two organs out with a wood. The woods are just going to be a little bit more sensitive in that area. It's also interesting that woods have the hardest time with addiction. They're usually the ones who get addicted. But on the good hand, if they're a balanced wood, they're going to be so disciplined within themselves that they can get over addictions. They can actually see, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting addicted to this pharmaceutical painkiller. I think I'm going to back off on it and not take it anymore. And they take control. So that's the good part of being a balanced wood. And we're always trying to find balance in the elements, because every element has a challenging side. And if they're in balance, it's ugly for every element. And
right.
Every element has a beautiful side that's full of attributes and gifts.
So the negative emotion for wood would be anger, and the positive would be what? Determination?
It could be determination, confidence, also benevolence.
Yeah.
And so woods, when you find a balanced wood, they are a very kind, balanced person. I talk about woods and people freak out because I'll say things like Donald Trump is a wood, Simon Cowell is a wood, and people will think, oh my God, I don't want to be a wood, because they see these people as very extreme. But these are very extreme people. These are the extreme woods. When a wood is more balanced, I like to look at singers like Pink, who, she talks openly about her demons in life. She's fun. She has a sense of humor. Her music is incredible. And so I would say she's more on the balanced side of wood.
You write on page 64 that it's all about control for a wood type. If they don't feel in control of their daily life and focused on their short and long-term goals, woods will not be in the mood to interact. So they're control freaks.
They are control freaks. The two control freaks in the 5 elements are the wood and the metal. Those are your two control freaks. And it can be difficult in relationship. Woods will definitely raise the bar for you. If your partner is a wood, they're going to absolutely insist that you are honest with them, and they will look for that honesty. And if they think for a moment that you're lying, they not only will go to anger, but it's tough because then they'll lose their trust in you more than any other element. They really woods feel that honesty is kindness. That is the highest form of kindness, is honesty.
Mm-hmm. Woods have a point of no return. When they've had enough, they've had enough. Really?
It's over. Yeah. It's that person in your life who just leaves. And as the metaphor of the wood person, they chop you out.
Yeah.
They're done. They're just like, I'm sorry. I tried. I did it. I'm done. And they move on to the next project, the next relationship. It's not now. I want to compare this a little bit to fires, which is actually the next element, because fires are actually very capricious. They will flit about. They're known kind of as the serial monogamists. They'll hop from relationship to relationship or job to job. Woods won't do that. Woods will actually give a lot. They'll give their time. They'll give their effort. They'll work very hard to make something right. But finally, if it's not happening, they will chop you out of their life. Mm-hmm. They'll just be done.
And one last element of the wood I think is interesting is wood women. They're controversial and misunderstood.
Absolutely. Wood women are these strong women in history who are, instead of seen as strong women in history or strong women in our present day, they get the reputation of being nasty or being the bitch or being the woman who's, she's so masculine. She's like a man. Well, these women are incredible. It is the wood women who are moving life forward for other women all over the world. They are the ones who are making the changes, setting the policies. They're the reason women have sexual freedom and they have the pill. They're the reason that women are no longer only secretaries, teachers, and housewives, that women have freedom now to choose what they want because wood women help them get forward. And in the book, I use a number of examples. I love the example of Harriet Tubman. She was an abolitionist. She lived in the 1800s, and she helped to free hundreds and hundreds of slaves. And she would travel back and forth from the north to the south, from Canada to the southern United States, helping slaves walk through the night and take these trips. And when people were hunting for her, people were hunting for Harriet Tubman because she was considered a slave stealer. And there was a bounty on her head for $40,000, which was a lot in the 1800s. And she just kept going. She just helped and persevered. Perseverance, diligence, this is wood. She kept going and helping these slaves to get free. We should be so thankful to our wood women. And Hillary has a lot of wood. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump both have wood. They also have other elements that make them very, very different people. But I feel Hillary gets an unfair shake. And a lot of times, if a man was saying or doing the same thing she would, it wouldn't trigger us as much. It wouldn't trigger the public as much because it's expected of a man, but not that strength, that innate strength and the urgency and the directness still, even today in 2016, isn't expected from a woman.
Right. Once again, we're here with Dondi Dahlin. She's the author of The 5 Elements, Understand Yourself and Enhance Your Relationships with the Wisdom of the World's Oldest Personality Type System. And you can find her at learnth5elements.com. And right before continuing this conversation, guys, are you an Amazon shopper? When you use our Amazon links at frederickbuy.com, Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the network, and it helps to cover production costs at no additional cost to you. no hidden fees, no nothing, no BS. So if you like what you hear, you can help by going over to frederickbuy.com, Frederick with a C, buy like bye-bye.com, and click the Amazon link in the sidebar for all your online shopping. It is really that simple, and bookmark it to find it easier. All right. The fire enjoys the fire likes to have fun and likes when other people have fun.
Yes, they want everyone to be happy. They live in the now. The fire person is this great person who you see at a party, and they're walking around talking to everybody, making sure that everyone is happy, everyone's having fun, people are dancing, people have their drinks or their food plate. They're positive. They have a lot of charisma. Anytime there's something serious going on, the fire will take that seriousness and spin it into something more positive. They want to warm people up, and life is a celebration. Life is a party, and why not enjoy it while we're here, because it goes fast and it is short. So some of your famous fire people are Ellen DeGeneres, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, these people who say, you know what? My whole goal in life is to make people laugh and feel the joy. These are fires. The archetype is the wizard or the life of the party. And the fire gets 4 organs. Every other element gets 2. The fire gets 4. And they're organs that the fire kind of governs. It are the pericardium, which is that little protective sac around the heart itself, the small intestine, and the triple warmer. The triple warmer is actually a system, a system in the body that governs fight, flight, or freeze. And this makes sense when you think about the fire's main emotion, which is panic. So under stress, a fire panics. And on the other side of that, their main emotion is joy. So when they're balanced, it's joy. When they're imbalanced, it's panic. And their body type is usually on the thin side or the tall side, but not always. We have very full-figured people who are fires, but this is just in general. Even if they're full-figured, they have high energy. So if a person is on the heavy side, they still can move around and dance around. They aren't sitting in one spot and kind of loafing. Nope, they're high energy. And even if they are a bigger type of person, their limbs often look long. So long limbs, and oh my gosh, fires are great. A lot of people in the limelight are fires, people on stage, people in front of the camera, people on the radio. And if they aren't fire, for instance, I don't have a lot of fire, but I have learned how to access my fire and how to pull it up when I'm on stage or on the radio or on TV, because you want that. Yeah, you need to have that charisma to help people connect with you.
Right. Who would the fire irritate?
Well, the fire irritates the metal. The metal person who is quite controlled, quite stoic, calm, cool, and collected. And the metal type of person doesn't emote. They don't understand really big emotions, really big joy, or really big sadness, or when someone's feeling distraught and they're just crying and crying. No, you really won't see a metal do this. You'll see a metal person kind of slip away, maybe meditate, maybe do some mindful breathing to help them get through the stress. So when a metal is in relationship with a fire, oh my gosh, it's a lot. My mom and her husband are metal and fire. He's a metal, she's a fire. And they've been together 40 years now. So it can work, and they're very much in love. But they have had to take the high road with each other. He, as a metal, has had to understand her big emotions and that they are real, because metals don't even believe that those big emotions are real. My mom, as the fire, has had to understand that, okay, my husband is never going to show peaks and valleys in his emotion. He's just going to be even keeled, and that's the metal personality.
Doesn't that frustrate the fire too sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Because the metal maybe seems more balanced and zen, right? Fire kind of ups and downs, kind of.
Yes, well, my mom will say, I've seen her kind of in a playful way beat up on her husband and say, come on, are you feeling this? Come on, can't you feel this?
Yeah.
Because you're wondering, are they even feeling the joy? Are they even feeling the sadness? I have a story in my book about a metal person and how she goes through the death process. It's very interesting to watch a metal person deal with death, because they process it in a very different way than the rest of us. And it's masterful to watch. And they go through it very unruffled, but they are processing in their own way. Again, this takes us back to never taking any person's personality personally, because we can see, wow, it's not that the metal isn't experiencing the grief of that death. They're just experiencing it in a really different way than I do. And that's who they are.
Right. Let's move on with the Earth personality.
Yes.
The Earth, oh my gosh, he's compassionate. He's it's okay.
Yes. Oh, if you all remember from the 1970s, I don't know how old you are, but I'm in my late 40s. And when I was growing up, we had Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And Mr. Rogers was a man on TV who would talk to all the kids, and he'd bring us in and he'd make tea or soup, and he'd talk to us about being kind to each other, and he'd say, won't you be my neighbor? And so these are the Earth people. These are the neighborly people. These are the people who, as soon as they find out that somebody is sick or going through a hard time, they will cook a casserole for that person, or they'll knit a blanket. They want people to be comfortable in life, to feel safe in life. They're very loyal to helping others feel good. And they're quite calm. They can be quite calm. They're the caretakers of the world. So this is their archetype: the preschool teacher, the mommy, the caretaker. They're loyal. They're connected. They're devoted. Their main emotion is compassion, which is absolutely beautiful. But on the other side, this can turn into over worry, and over worry can be absolutely debilitating and paralyzing. You can imagine these moms who over worry and over worry and over worry until finally their sons leave home because it's too much.
Yeah.
So their main organs are the spleen. The spleen deals with blood cells, and the stomach is about digesting. And when you look at this on a metaphorical level, the Earths are always digesting life. They're digesting slowly decisions and people and relationships. And it is hard for Earths to make decisions. Truly, they avoid conflict, totally different than the wood type. Woods like conflict. They thrive on conflict, not the Earths. They don't want any conflict. They don't want any argument. They avoid it like the plague. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little bit about the Earth type. Oh, and their body type is a little bit rounder. They tend to hold on to food, hold on to calories, and not to say they can't lose weight, because anyone can if they find the way that's right for them, but they just tend to hold on to weight a little bit more.
And how do they remain balanced?
Well, the Earth people need to remember that if they worry too much for others, people will probably feel smothered by them. And so they need to find healthy ways to deal with that heavy energy of worry and that constant concern for others. They really need to find a way to know that everybody's on their own path. It's okay. I don't need to caretake every single person 24 hours a day. And it's very hard for them. For people who aren't Earths, this is easy. For people who are Woods, they're like, yeah, that's that person's deal. I'll just let them deal with it. For an Earth, oh my gosh, they are drawn from deep inside. This is their purpose in life, to help other people.
Yeah.
So to stay balanced, they really need to be clear within themselves about their own goals, their own desires. This will help them to remember themselves, because a lot of times Earths even forget to take care of themselves because they're so eager to take care of other people. And Earths also need to know that decision-making is hard, and they need to give themselves time to make decisions. So that's some of the ways that they can stay balanced.
Right. And the last one is metal. Less expression. They're kind of colder a little bit at first glance.
Yeah,
but,
at first. Yes.
Go ahead.
So a little bit colder, very collected and cool, and a little bit stoic. They seem very sophisticated. So Angelina Jolie is one of our people who we use for metal. She has a very metal way about her. Benedict Cumberbatch, Posh Spice. These women who are tall and lanky, you can see this in the metal body. They usually have a longer body, a longer face. Their main organs are large intestine and lungs. So the metal type, and I'm going to talk about large intestine and lungs because it's so important. The metal type goes through life learning how to release experiences, release relationships, and move on in a very calm way to seek enlightenment. So the metal types are often seeking something more than what we can just see in front of us. So this ties into the large intestine and lungs, because what do the lungs do every day? You breathe in and then you release. You're constantly taking in and then releasing. The large intestine is releasing old waste from our body and toxins. So this is what the metal does. It's a beautiful, beautiful kind of solitary path and journey that the metal type is on. The archetype is the queen or the alchemist. They weather life's ups and downs. They never really get too ruffled, and they do deal with grief. Grief is a main emotion for them. And on the other side of that, like I said, it's enlightenment. So that is the metal type, and that's the last one. And most people have two elements that they are strong in, and the other three kind of sit by the wayside and simmer or come out in specific events. But you're usually working with two as a combination.
Mm-hmm. And what about relationships? How are they in relationships, metals?
Oh, the metals, they can be tough in relationships as well. I talked about the fire before. Yeah. They push the buttons of the fire person because a fire is all about big emotion, and a metal just isn't. You're going to get a lot of quiet time with a metal, and they're probably going to be doing very mindful exercises like yoga or mindful meditation. But a water person really values the water. They'll do very well in relationship with with a metal. Both the water and the metal type are kind of seekers in life of more meaning, and life not just being a fluffy, fun trip, but something that really means something deeply to them.
All right. So thank you very much. What am I, Dondi? What types of personality am I? Can you tell, or is it?
Yeah. Let me tell you what I've picked up. So when you first came on the air with all of us, you had a big laugh. You had a lot of peaks and valleys in your voice. You promised that people would be entertained. This is fire. Fire. They have a big voice, a big laugh. They aren't afraid to smile. They aren't afraid to enjoy life. However, you also talked about being a reader, being an artist, I can tell you have a lot of curiosity about people. You want to know about people. This is the water. So you may have two elements that are very, very different than each other, the fire and the water. And I think on the radio, a lot of your fire comes out, that creativity and the, I think you mentioned at the top of this show about unleashing creativity. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fire. Unleash it and let it fly.
Well, see, that's funny because the quiz came out as, I came out as wood and metal. But, sometimes when I answer the questions, it's different when somebody else, sees you and then you're the person answering the questions. But yeah. I thought I was water. Like, I thought I was water, and it's kind of like, for me, and we're going to wrap this up real quick, but for me, it's kind of what you said earlier. I think the fire comes out when I'm on air.
Yes.
But if you ask, but if you see me, I think in person, I'm more laid back and calm. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I can see from your picture that you resemble more of a wood-water mix. I wouldn't say metal. I think metal may have been off, or you may have been in a metal mood or a metal phase when you took the quiz. Mm-hmm. But I don't see a lot of metal, but I could see the wood, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, where can we find you? Where can we buy your books?
Yes, the books are available everywhere. It's called The 5 Elements, and people can go to the website if they don't have the book and take the quiz. LearnThe5Elements.com is where you can take the quiz. It takes 4 or 5 minutes, and you can start learning about your elements and reading about them.
Yeah, fascinating stuff, really. Hey, thank you very much, Dondi. I had a great time. Congratulations on your book, really, and I'm honored to have interviewed you, and I loved it, really. I loved your book. I'm going to reread it for sure. It's very, very, it's an important book, I think. But
thank you, Frederick. Yeah. Thank you. It's been awesome to be with you, and I so appreciate it.
All right. Cool, Dondi. Have a great day, and good luck in the future, really.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Dondi. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty, guys. Alrighty. Thank you very much, Dondi. That was an amazing, amazing conversation. I love these conversations. It's so fun to talk with people who are positive, who are out there, who are putting themselves out there, who have this high energy. Thank you for this insightful conversation. What a wonderful, wonderful, kind lady. I love this conversation. Smooth and deep. And by the way, guys, when you pick up her book from our website at frederickby.com, Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the network, and it helps to cover production costs at no additional cost to you. No hidden fees, no nothing, no BS. So if you like this show, you can help by going over to frederickby.com, Frederick with a C, buy like bye-bye.com, and click on her page on the blog and click the link to her book. It is really that simple. We would like to thank those who pledged to our Patreon page. You are really helpful to the network, and we are grateful for your help. And guys, in case you're wondering, Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to the network every single month and get super cool exclusive rewards in return. I promise you will love the perks. Our Patreon page is at frederickby.com, and click Patreon in the header. The money is used to cover our production costs and enhancements. It is also used to cover our editing time and sharing to the different radio podcast channels, and you can contribute for as low as $1. $1. I can't believe I'm a water and a fire. That's what she saw in me. It's awesome. I wouldn't have thought that. I thought I was a water, but I didn't think I would be a fire. I thought it would be a wood, like the quiz said. But, I think I like that. I like, fire. It's pretty cool. I think I can irritate people, which is cool. I don't mind. Anyway. And also, guys, the Creative Magic store is open, alive, and well. You have t-shirts, mugs, DVDs recommended reading. I will put up that book, by the way, The 5 Elements in the Creative Magic Store. I think it's an amazing book. It's open well. Just go to frederickby.com. It's about tapping. It's about inspiring you. It's called Design with Meaning. All the t-shirts you'll see, it's design with meaning. It's about tapping into your intuition, and it's about adding a little bit of magic into your life. That's right. And guys, this podcast is FREE free. This radio podcast is FREE free every time you download it on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, whatever platform you're on. So you can subscribe. It is listener supported. Tell a friend, leave a review. It's really cool. It really helps a brother out in the rankings and everything when you leave a review. And it's time for me to get out of here. I'm gonna do the Frankie Sense and More show in about 5 minutes. So in the meantime, stay safe and live with purpose, passion, fire, and love. Bye-bye.